guys, Dan here with another week in review where I share with you the latest trade paperbacks of comics and graphic novels I've read for the week. I know last week I really felt like I let you guys down. Like I only read and reviewed really mediocre books and some that were just, not that great, that were below mediocre. So this week I think it's going to be a better week and I've got a better start. The first book I read for this week is 100 Bullets Volume 2, Split Second Chance. It's been a very long time since I read 100 Bullets. I know I did like a book review of the first volume of it, and it's been so long. I think it's like been a year or two since I've read it. Well, anyways, from what I'm gathering from these books is that they can be read as standalones. I mean, there is somewhat of a story I'm seeing going on, but it doesn't really seem necessary. And this is a Vertigo book suggested for mature readers. And, of course, it follows that same guy from the first volume who is handing out attaché cases filled with, like, a gun and 100 bullets and evidence of a wrongdoing against them and how they can rectify it and not get in trouble for it. So this was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting. At times I was thinking this was a 3-star book, but in the end I decided to give this a 4-star rating. It was really enjoyable, and if you have not read any of these books, you should definitely check them out. If you're like into like Sin City or like, crime noir type stuff, I think you might like this. So definitely check. Next we have The Joker by Brian Azzarello. Out of all the times you see Batman villains or villains of any type, you usually get this lightened, kind of not too much of a bad guy. You get this guy who maybe just robs a bank, but they're not really truly vile or personified as being evil or a villain. Now this book, on the other hand, really kind of sheds a light, and I don't know, I tend to be one of those people who seems to see these little subtleties in reading fiction, and I noticed, a few little subtle things that were just kind of made the villains in this book really highlighted how gruesome and how villainous they really are. We see how unpredictable the Joker is, and in one scene we see how horrific the Killer Croc can be as he's eating what looks like just regular meat, and then the scene pans over to the kettle and we see a skull in it. So it was just little things like this and how unpredictable like Two-Face can be, just really made this an enjoyable read for me. I thought this was really well written. The art was really great, and if you are a Bat fan or a fan of the Joker, I would highly recommend this one. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's well worth the read. Okay, up next we have Body World, and this is another Goodreads recommendation, and I'm holding it this way because this is how you read it. It's read like a centerfold type of thing where you flip it up. There are not too many books in this type of format. I see how it's got the title written on the side too. One of the major issues I have with this, and sorry to go on a rant, but I hate how libraries will take every comic, graphic novel, and they'll classify it as YA for some reason, when clearly, right above that, it has the initials not safe for work. So, apparently, and I asked one of the librarians, they said that somebody in the federal government, or from the Library of Congress or whatever, classifies all these graphic novels and comics as YA, which is kind of ignorant because there are a good majority of comics that are rated mature, such as this one. But yeah, it's YA, which makes no fucking sense. Well, anyways, not to go on too long of a tangent or a rant, this book was really super fucking weird and strange. It's about this guy, Professor Panther. Yeah, the names are really stupid, if you ask me. The only thing that was really interesting about this book was sometimes the artwork was interesting. Well, anyways, Professor Panther goes to Boney Burroughs School, and he finds this plant. He's some kind of biologist, like a researcher, and he's a drug biologist. Like, he studies drugs that get people high, and he finds this planet that's you can get high from, and you hallucinate. But the trick is you hallucinate like what other people are feeling. So it's kind of weird, and there's like a twist on that, on where that plant comes from. I have to mention this other really stupid scene, and this is why I really didn't like this book, was there's this guy, Mr. Scarface or Scarhead or something like that, and they reveal his origin, and he was this really handsome douchebag guy who was a bigamist and had women all over the country he was married to, and he got abducted by aliens, and he got turned into the ugly Scarhead. So that was just so stupid. Like, I have to admit, a couple of my friends on Goodreads rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I'm going to be blunt and honest with you guys. I really thought this was shit. I only rated this 2 out of 5 stars. A lot of the times, it was just so stupid. It was like, why? What the fuck is going on? Yeah, but then the only cool aspect of this was sometimes the artwork was really cool, kind of melding and merging people and stuff like that, so I thought that next we have The Amazing Spider-Man Graveyard Shift. This is volume 4 in a new run written by Dan Slott. This one mostly involves with the Black Cat having like a mental breakdown. I guess there's some prior events that I missed. I didn't read those where she lost everything and people were trying to auction it off, and Peter Parker has his Parker Industries, and this was just okay. I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I know a couple of my friends on Goodreads really thought this was great for some reason, but I'm just not seeing it. After that, I read Son of Hulk. I'm not sure which volume this is. I know that it is issues 13 through 17. This was really disappointing. This does have Galactus in it, and Hulk's, I don't know if he had more than one son, or if this is the same guy that is Scar, but this was horrible. This is more of a sci-fi story with a dude who is the Hulk's son who has like an ego power trip, and it wasn't that great. I mean, like I said, it was just more sci-fi than anything. They go to this planet in this like rock ship, and he confronts Galactus, and yada yada yada. It wasn't that great. I only rated this 2 out of 5 stars. I don't know if further issues are better, or if the one before this is better. I just don't know. This is another moment in Marvel history that probably should have not happened. After that, I read Exquisite Corpse, and for those who do not know the term Exquisite Corpse, it is a art technique from the Dadaist movement. It's either between Dadaism or Surrealism. But they used to have parties. They'd get together, and somebody would fold a piece of paper, and somebody would draw something on the corner, and like somebody else would draw the other corner, and so forth. Like, everybody would contribute to this picture, and then it would be revealed at the end of the party as to what everybody had drawn. Without, while they were drawing, they wouldn't see what everybody else had contributed. And it was called an Exquisite Corpse. It was like a chance thing that it would turn out to look like perhaps a picture of something else. So with that being said, I don't think the author really fully understands what the Exquisite Corpse is. I think that she has taken a very loose meaning to that and made it the plot of this book. This book starts out really, really strong. I was really liking this at first. I was thinking at first it was a 4-star book. It's about this girl named Zoe who lives with her unappreciative, farting boyfriend, and she's struggling to make ends meet as some kind of ad product girl. And she dresses up in costumes sometimes for different things, for different events. And it was just, and then she meets this weird, strange guy by chance. And you know, it was just, this was so bad, and it took a turn for the worse near the end as the story started to unravel, and it seemed really rushed, and then it just had this really shocking and twist ending, which I just, to be quite honest with you, was shit. Like, I just didn't get it, and a couple of people, I think, really liked this. The artwork is kind of nice. It is kind of nice to see Parisian culture, because it does take place in Paris. But aside from that, I thought this was a 2 out of 5 star book. It really just was not that great. Like I said, the twist ending was just kind of shit. Like, I really didn't see that coming, and I was thinking this was going to be a great book because it started out so good, and it was kind of like a romance, like a romantic kind of story, but then it just turned into, you know, that's it. Okay, up next we have Space Dumplings by Craig Thompson. Craig Thompson has done a couple of graphic novels, one being Blankets, which I know was pretty popular with the YA section of BookTube. I've never read it. I only read this because I happened to see it on Goodreads over and over again, and I figured I would check it out. It is geared for young kids, I'm going to say from 7 to 8 and up, probably. This is kind of cute. It takes place in space. In the beginning, there is a quote from Moby Dick, something about dumplings, and I'm assuming that dumplings are whales, so I think that it's about space whales. So it's, you know, and it's an sci-fi adventure comic with a little girl named Violet. She's got her little chicken friend and then some other little orange alien. I forgot what he is. But overall, I honestly thought this, and this is just my opinion, I thought this was a 2 out of 5 star book. But then I remembered I'm not the target audience, so I decided to rate it 3 out of 5 stars. It's got very crude humor, you know, with fecal matter, because the girl's father is a lumberjack and they harvest logs, and they're not wood, they're turds. And then they talk about whale diarrhea and all the other stuff, so it's really kind of gross bathroom humor, and it was just not that great. Up next we have Death Vigil Volume 1. This is an Image comic, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce this guy's name, but it is written by Stipen Sajak, maybe. I probably just terribly butchered that guy's name, but he's from Croatia, and lately he has this, like, sexual fetish comic that's been kind of trending on BookTube lately. But this is a book he wrote before that. It's a Top Cow Image comic, and it's about this group of people. They're led by Bernadette. They just call her Bernie, but she's kind of like like a reaper. She's not really. She's kind of like the embodiment of death. I don't want to say too much more about her because I really don't want to spoil it, because it's revealed like throughout the story kind of what she is. Kind of a little bit, but not totally. So she chooses to bring back certain people to help her against these necromancers who are fighting these dark elder gods. It's kind of Lovecraftian in a way. It's a lot of action and adventure, but I didn't think it was that great. Like, it kind of left open a lot of holes. Like, it didn't explain itself as to why certain people were fighting against her and why certain people were wanting to become necromancers. It seemed like a really rushed story. Like I said, it left out a lot of stuff that I was just wondering what was really going on. Yes, the artwork is really cool. It was an entertaining story, but I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars. It could have been much better. Like, at first, when I first started reading this, I was like, yeah, I really like this, and I thought it was going to be a 4-star book. But then I got, like, to the halfway mark, and I was like, yeah, this just is not as great as I thought it was going to be.